My mom got a $30,000 personal loan in my name without my knowledge. The account is from February, which was when they bought a boat. Now, they've missed 4 payments and told me they're going to let it default since the boat can't be repossessed and they're going to call DCFS on me. I knew my mom had her eye on a pontoon boat for the last year. She and my dad retired in 2022 and while they aren't swimming in money, they weren't hurting much for it either, or so I thought. They bought a boat in February for a little over $30,000. I didn't think much of it since they always rented a pontoon boat 2 to 3 times a year and didn't appear to have money issues. At the start of July, I began getting my ducks in a row to buy a house. When I applied for a pre-approval, I found out my credit score was barely over 600 and I had an extra $30,000 plus in debt I had no idea about. Even worse, it was 90 plus days late. I told the lender the account wasn't mine and he said my identity had probably been stolen, but it was probably someone close to me as the money would have had to go to a bank account with my name on it. I shared a bank account with my ex-fiancée and asked the bank to look into it. They said the account had been closed a couple of years ago, when we broke up, and no attempts to send money to it/take money from it have been made since. I filed a dispute with the company and the credit agencies as it was obvious to me I had been hacked or my identity had been stolen. About a week ago, I got a notice from the company to my apartment, first I had ever heard from them, saying they were going to charge off the account if payment wasn't made. I requested more information from them and they linked me to their fraud department. They were able to tell me where the money was sent to a bank account from when I was a minor that I shared with my mom. When I called that bank, they confirmed there was activity on the account and the statements showed the loan coming in and almost all of the money being transferred into what looks like my mom's account at the same bank. I haven't used that bank in more than a decade. I called my mom and asked her about it and she, after a long pause, said that's how they bought the boat. They made one payment on the account and realized they probably couldn't afford the monthly payment for the next 5 years. When I asked why they hadn't told me, she said it was because they figured I would say no, they were right, and that they had worked hard in their lives and wanted to enjoy retirement. It ended by them saying the boat couldn't be repossessed because it was a personal loan. My mom suggested declaring bankruptcy and I told them I was going to the police. My mom said not to do that because they wouldn't take it seriously. When I told her I was doing it anyway, she hinted that she might have to call DCFS on me. My 2-year-old burned themselves on a hot pen earlier this year, simple ER visit and was told accidents happen, he's fine, regarding an unsafe home. I think I'm still going to the police because declaring bankruptcy would make it impossible to buy a house. I just needed to vent and look for any advice. Comments. She stole $30K, potentially ruined your financial future for 7 years, threatened to put your child in a situation where they could be taken and put in foster care for a fucking pontoon boat. Comment. OP, make sure you mention they are effectively trying to blackmail you into not reporting and have them added to the police report. Get a copy of that police report and keep it near the door. If DCF gets called, allow them to check out your home and child and show them the police report. By reporting it first, you come out swinging and get the drop on them. Don't let their threats prevent you from getting your life in order. Comment. 100% this. Had a family member threaten CPS on my and my wife. I called and reported the incident including the threat to police. Sure enough CPS shows up at my house, followed by a lawsuit to take my kids by my family member. Had one court case, CPS dropped their investigation and the family member got reamed in court for wasting resources and made to cover my legal fees, update, 3 months later. I filed my police report the same day as my first post. The officer and I talked for probably 20 minutes and I printed out a statement from the bank. I spoke with a detective a couple days later for another 20 minutes. Fast forward about 2.5 weeks and my dad called saying my mom had been arrested. He said an officer and a detective showed up at their house asking to speak with her. When she went onto the porch, they grabbed her and arrested her. The detective, the same one I talked to, explained they had a warrant. My mom has never been in trouble with the law in her life and she got arrested on a felony. They tried talking to her and she immediately requested a lawyer. They stopped asking questions but didn't let her see a lawyer right away. My dad was furious but the detective told him to have a lawyer go down to the county jail in the morning before she went to the judge. The next morning, apparently she and the lawyer talked and she was released in the afternoon with a new court date. About a week later, I got a call from DCFS requesting to meet with me about my son. I had nothing to hide so I agreed. We spoke for about half an hour at my apartment and I explained the situation. She seemed understanding and told me there are no obvious issues, she just had to follow up on a report. I will say if I'm ever in trouble, I'm hiring her lawyer. The case was dismissed at her next court date in late September. The detective called me the next day and explained the state attorney believed that they wouldn't be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt she intentionally stole my identity. He said he figured it was a BS reason because he had documents from the bank and loan company. He said the state attorney drops a lot of cases, even open and shut ones, especially when it's not violent and they have a hired attorney. She never made a statement other than her attorney telling the detective she didn't do it. He also said the loan company might go after my mom in a lawsuit. What brings me back here is that a couple weeks ago the account dropped from my credit. Even better though, I got a letter from DCFS yesterday saying the allegation against me was unfounded. I'm never talking to my piece of trash mom again. Thank you everyone who gave me advice and hope in my first post. It just sucks that she is probably going to end up with a free boat out of it, unless the loan company sues her, which I hope they do. Comments. Send the loan company the address where the boat is kept, with a photo, comment. The problem is, they took out a personal loan, not a boat loan. In other words, they borrowed cash in her name and then bought the boat with cash, so the boat is not collateral for the loan. They might be able to sue the parents, but they'd have to basically prove in civil court what the state's attorney would not bother prosecuting. Which would probably cost more than $30,000 in legal fees. Comment. Personally, if my parents called DCFS on me for revenge, that would be the end of my relationship with them. Never to revive again. Comment. I would never let them see the grandchildren. OP, freeze your children's credit too. Comment. Send them pictures though. Here's a picture of your grandchild that you'll never see again. I feel bad that the poor kids lost a grandparent, but they are not worthy.